Hello, welcome to today's video, and as you can see, it's about the true, false, not given question type in the IELTS reading. One of the most dreaded question type for my clients at first until they get to understand what it's all about, and I'm hoping that at the end of you watching this video, you'll begin to see how interesting it is and hopefully you'd stop dreading it. Okay, so let's go on. So what are our objectives for today? I'm hoping that you'd understand what true, false, not given questions are, that you'd learn about how to distinguish between true, false, and not given statements. I'm hoping that you develop effective strategies to tackle this question type and improve your accuracy and confidence in answering these questions. Okay? Now, what are true, false, not given questions? So basically, you'd be giving a list of statements. Okay, let's go back to the very first page. There's an image there that has, okay, here. So you'd be giving a list of statements. Here you can see 7 to 14. And you'd be giving a passage as well. So all you have to do is read the question, maybe like number 7 now, then check in the passage to know whether the statement is true according to the passage, is false according to the passage, or it's not given. So you can't find it in the passage, okay? So now, true means the statement agrees with the information in the passage, because it's very important for you to understand what these three options mean. True means the statement agrees with information in the passage, meaning that you can find the exact information in the passage. You will not see the same words. Okay, the information will be paraphrased, but it's the same meaning, so it can be found in the passage. That's the only time you pick true. Okay, so if the statement says, I don't know, for example, the red car is okay, or Ali recently bought that red car, for example, okay? This is just from the top of my head. Ali recently bought that red car. Then in the passage, somewhere in the passage, you see the new car belongs to Ali. It's basically the same thing. You do not use the same words, but you capture the fact that the car is new because of recently in the statement, and that it belongs to Ali because Ali bought it. I don't know if you understand. So something like that, okay? It's usually not this straightforward many times, but something like that. So you must see a statement in the passage that has the same meaning as the one in the question before you pick true, okay? False means that the statement in the question contradicts the information in the passage. Contradict is opposite, okay? Contradict means opposite. So it's contradictory. It's not the same thing. It's opposite. I think that's the easiest way and the best way for you to understand the meaning of false. Because the truth is, most people don't have issues picking true, getting true as the correct answer. But most times people mix up false and not given. So it's important that you understand exactly what each one means. Okay, so false means that there is a statement in the passage that is very related to what is in the question, but the problem is it's contradictory. For example, all the cars parked in this compound belong to Abel. That's the statement in the question. All the cars parked in this compound belong to Abel. But the passage says some of these cars belong to Abel, while others belong to his brother. Now notice that compound, parts, cars, belong, all these words are keywords in the question, and you can also find them in the passage. But the difference now, the reason why the answer will be false is because the question said all the cars parked belong to Abel. Whereas the passage said some. It's not the same thing. You understand? So They did talk about the cars parked in the compound and the fact that it belongs to Abel. Now, sometimes people will pick true for this answer because they're making the mistake of just matching keywords. Oh, I can see belong, I can see Abel, I can see this and that in the paragraph and in the question and in the passage, so it must be true. It doesn't work that way. You must match the meaning, not the words. I don't know if you understand. Good. So the fact that you've seen all the words in the question in the passage doesn't make the answer true. It's the meaning we're checking. And if you now listen to the meaning well, you realize that they said some of the cars in the passage, not all, like what the question is saying. That is when it's going to be false. Now, what does not given mean? Not given means that this information is not provided in the passage. They did not even talk about cars parked in any compound. Like this information, that's when you pick not given as your answer. I don't know if you see the difference now. True, it's there. Paraphrased, yes, but it's there. The meaning of that sentence is found in the passage. False, some of it is there. It's kind of there, but when you compare the meaning, then something is off. It is not, it's contradictory, then it's false. Not given, you can't find that information. Even if you read the whole passage, you're not going to find it. Then it's not given. Okay, don't worry, it will become clearer as we go. Now, let's look at some tips. I'm sure I've already mentioned some while explaining the information on the last slide, but let's look at some tips for true, false, not given. Read instructions carefully. Okay, read your instructions very carefully. And the difference between true, false, and not given. Very important, and I've tried to explain that in the last slide. So make sure that you understand the difference between true, false, and not given. If not, you're not going to be able to pick the correct answer. Now, there's another question type that is very, very, very similar to true, false, not given, and it's called yes, no, not given. So read your instructions to be sure whether you should be writing true, or whether you should be writing yes, or whether you should be writing false or no. This is very important, okay? Always read your instructions, irrespective of what you're doing, listening, reading, writing, speaking. Always read your instructions to be sure of what is expected of you, okay? The next tip, identify keywords, okay? Identify keywords. So it's very important that you are able to identify keywords in both the questions and the passage. That's the statement in the question and the passage. Keywords is one word that I would always talk about when I'm explaining anything IELTS because they are very important, okay? So, and we're going to do that. When it's time for us to practice like real exercise, we're going to be identifying keywords, okay? Next is don't assume. Base your answers only on the information provided, not your own knowledge. This is very important, okay? Even if the statement in the question says the sky is red, you are not supposed to just run and say false. That's not what you're supposed to do. Don't just run and say false because you're like, what does that mean? The sky is blue. No. You have to check the passage. Because if that passage said the sky is red, then your answer is true. And your answer is only false if the passage said the sky is blue and your question is saying the sky is red. So it's a contradiction and it's false. You pick not given if the passage did not tell you anything about the color of the sky, then it's not given. Do you understand? So even if it's something you know, you don't base your answer on your knowledge, on your own knowledge. No, it's only your answer should only be based on what is given in the passage. I hope you understood my example. You open your question and it says the sky is red. Don't run and say false because maybe the passage said the sky is red, in which case your answer would be true. Your answer would only be false if the passage said the sky is blue, not because you know the sky is blue. Very important. Look for contradictions. For false answers, find where the passage directly contradicts the statements. Okay? Directly contradicts. So, before you pick an answer as false, like I said before, that information would be in the passage. But the problem is something about it will be contradictory. It will not mean the meaning of the statement in the question and the passage won't be exactly the same thing, even though they are talking about the same thing. Please, I know I am really emphasizing and stressing some words because a lot of people have issues with false and they confuse it with not giving. But you shouldn't, because not giving is literally in the name. It is not given. The information is not provided in the passage. Whereas false, the information is there, but there is something contradictory about it when you compare it to what the passage actually said. And that's why I said it's not just about keywords in the question and finding the same keywords in the passage. It's about reading that whole statement and understanding the meaning and then finding the exact same meaning in the passage, then you can pick true. But if there's something contradictory or opposite or just not the same, not exactly the same as what is in the passage, then it's false. All right. Be cautious with not giving. If there is no clear evidence in the text, choose not giving. Yes, sometimes people spend so much time before they decide an answer is not given. Of course, I'm going to show you some strategies that will help you not waste all your time. Because I've mentioned this before, it's not just about getting your answers correctly, it's about getting them correctly as fast as possible. Okay, so if you're really not sure, like you've checked and you feel like you're already spending too much time, you can't find that information, just pick not given. I think that's the safest option. Okay, so don't waste too much time. If there is no clear evidence, the evidence must be clear. Okay, when I have my classes, my clients are always required to show me. I call it evidence. What's the evidence for picking true? You have to tell me that, okay, in paragraph 2, line 3, it says this, which is exactly the same thing as the statement in the question, which is why I picked true. If you can't find such evidence for true and false, it's not given. So false means, oh, in paragraph 3, line 1, this is what it says, which is contradictory to what the passage is saying or to what the question is saying, then so that's why I picked false. Not given is the only one that there's no evidence because it's not there. So there's nothing to find, there's no evidence. But for false and true, there has to be an evidence. The only difference is that for true, the evidence is exactly the same as the question, whereas for false, the evidence is contradictory. Don't worry if you're new to this, it will get clearer, okay? Just make sure you're listening to what I'm saying. You're not distracted, you're focused, and you're taking note of what I'm saying. So that when we start practicing, you'd see me applying all these things, okay? All right. Now, some more tips, okay? You must have at least one true, at least one false, and at least one not given. Okay? Me repeating this word at least is intentional. Because if you have about maybe 5 questions for a true, false, not given question type, and you finish and you realize that all you wrote was true and false, so your answer was maybe true, false, false, true, false, just be sure you failed at least one, because it's always designed to have at least one answer to be true. That means more than one can be true, but you must have at least one that is false, and you must have at least one that is not given. So be very careful. If you like, let it be only 3 questions. One is false, one is true, one is not given. Okay? So be careful about that. The answers come in the same order as the information in the passage. Yes, this is very, very helpful to know. Okay? The answers will come in the same order. That means you are not going to see number 3 answer before you see number 1 answer. It's not possible for true, false, not given. There are some question types in IELTS reading that are random. I think one major one actually, okay, some question type, maybe, yeah. But the point is, for true, false, not given, the answers come in the same order. So you must see number 1. Number 2 will come after number 1. Be it the line after, be it the paragraph after, it doesn't matter. The point is that number 2 answer will not be placed before number 1 answer. So your answers will be going down as you read your passage, you will get your answers. Okay? This is very important. And keep this in mind because we are going to refer back to this. Okay? Always keep an eye on the next question. This is very important. Why? Happy you asked. So imagine you are looking at maybe you're on number one question, and you want to read for the answer. But not, that number one is designed to be not given. That means the correct answer is not given, but obviously you don't know because you're the candidate. But the examiners designed number one to be not given. Okay? That means it is not in the passage. That information in number one is not provided in the passage. Good. You would have to read that whole passage to the end before you realize that it's not there. I don't know if you're following. You would have to read the whole passage. Remember, you're number one, no? You're just starting, and you realize it's true, false, not giving question type first. And you read only number one, and you start reading the passage to find number one. But remember, I said that the examiners designed it to be not given. That means it's not there. That means you're going to read the whole passage from start to finish before you realize that, oh, okay, this is not given. But trust me, you've wasted so much precious time. What if I told you there's a way to avoid reading the whole passage before knowing for sure that the answer is not given? That is by reading the next question. Because remember that the previous tip right before this one, I told you that the answers come in order. So, let's say you read number one question because that's the one you're on. But you also just, you have an idea what number two is asking about. I'm not saying read one and two and memorize both, but yes, memorize one because you're on number one, but then have an idea of the keywords in number two. Just have an idea what number two is talking about. And then you start reading for number one. Then all of a sudden, you're still reading for number one, and then all of a sudden, you start seeing number two. At that point where you start seeing number two, and you're sure you've not read anything about number one, that is where you stop and write not given for number one. Because I told you that the answers come in order. So if you're already seeing number two answer, or you've already seen the area where number two answer should come from, then it's not possible that you're going to still see number one answer below that area where number two answer is coming from, because the answers must come in order. I hope you are following. I hope you're following, because these are the little things that make the difference. Okay? You cannot see number one answer after number two answer. So if you're reading for number one answer and then all of a sudden you see number two answer and you're sure you've not seen number one answer in the area you've read, just confidently, quickly go and write not given for number one because it's not there. If it's not in the area before number two, then it's nowhere else in the passage. I hope you're following. If you understand so far, I congratulate you. In fact, let's celebrate you because it's not easy. Okay? Good. Now, let us proceed. The next tip. Do not forget the question as you read the passage. This one is very important. So, very, very important. And it's something that a lot of people do. It's not intentional, I know. It's not like you'd say, okay, I've read number one answer. Now I'm going to forget it and then I'll go start reading the passage. I know it's not intentional. But you must put in conscious effort to make sure that at all times, the question you're looking for, it's in your mind. Because if you read a question and then you go to the passage to read look for it, and then you've forgotten the question, what are you looking for? I do this with my clients all the time. I'll give them a chance. I'll say, read the question, take note of keywords. Are you done? Okay, fine. Go and start reading the passage. Read out loud so that I know when they get the answer. So they start reading out loud and I'll be there watching and you see them read past the question. Sorry, the answer. They're reading the passage now and they'll read past the answer and keep reading. They honestly don't even realize that they've already passed the answer. And then I stop them and say, without looking down at your book, what are you looking for? What is the question? or just give me the main keywords in the question. Many times they can't answer that question, and it's unbelievable. It's just, it's sad because it's a problem. And then I say, so what are you looking for? If you don't remember the question, what are you reading for? You are literally just reading the passage and wasting your time to no end, no goal. So always keep the question in mind. Whatever you're doing, have when you read you're not reading the question for reading's sake. You're reading it to memorize it. That's why I encourage underlining keywords. So maybe you don't have to, have to memorize the whole sentence, but you memorize important words, the important ideas in the question. So that when you go to the passage and start reading, and you come across those words or ideas, you stop, you pick your answer, and then you repeat the process for the next question. Okay, so very important. Don't forget the question as you read the passage. Okay. You can write T for true, F for false, and NG for not given. Okay, that's allowed. Um, I like to write out in full, but I've had a few clients that had serious issues with spelling, and they kept on misspelling true. They would write TREU, TREU. And even if the answer is true, they'll still fail it because of spelling. So I guess if you have issues spelling true, you should learn it because you might use it in your essay. You might not have a choice. You wouldn't be able to write T in your writing. So the best thing would be for you to learn how to spell the word. But to be safe, you can just write T. It's fine, okay? It doesn't matter. You can write T for true, false for not false, F for false, and NG for not given. But I just like how it looks when you write it out in full. That's my preference. That's how I write mine, but it's okay to write T, F, and G. Then one other tip I mentioned earlier, but I did not put in this slide, and it's supposed to be on this particular slide, is do not match words, match meanings. I explained it some minutes ago. Do not just say, these words are in the question, I can find them in the passage, so my answer is true. That's not how it works. What you should say is, I've read the statement in the question, I understand its meaning, and I can also find a statement in the passage that has the same meaning, so therefore, my answer is true. Okay? So you're not matching words, you're matching meanings. Very important too. Please keep it in mind, okay? Alright, now let's look at some strategies for true, false, not giving questions. How do you attempt them? Now that I've explained what they are, I've given you some tips, what should you do? Like when you open your question paper on your test day, or maybe you're trying to practice at home on your own, and you realize that, okay, now it's time to do a true, false, not giving question time. What steps should you take towards actually getting your answer and getting it very quickly? Number one, read the heading and instructions. Always read your headings, always read your instructions. I say these all the time, very important, okay? Step two, analyze the first question. Pay attention. After reading your headings and your instructions, you then move over to the questions. First, I did not say start reading the passage. Please do not read your passage first. It's a waste of time. After reading the heading of the passage and you've read your instructions, go to the questions and read the first question, just the first one first. But not just read, okay? That's why I said analyze. Break down the statement into key components, into key words. So as you're reading it, you're making sure you understand the meaning of it while underlining the key words in the question. Okay? Question number one. That's what you should do first. Alright? Now, after you've done that, you've read the key number one and analyzed it and taken note of the keywords, what do you do next? You then quickly read the next question. Locate the keywords in the next question and keep them in mind as well. I've explained why. If you're following, I've explained why. So basically, I'm saying for true, false, not giving questions, you read your questions in twos, in pairs. Okay? You read the first question and the next one. But you read the first question a little bit more, you pay more attention to the first question. For the second question, you're pretty much just trying to have an idea of what the keywords are, of what the second question is asking about, so that in case you're reading for the first question and you get the second question, you would know. So IELTS requires a lot of attention. Your brain will be working 247, or well, at least as long as for the 1 hour that you have for your reading, your brain will be at work. You're trying to hold on to information while reading. You're trying to look out for keywords. You're trying to look for paraphrases. It's not something you do and be distracted while doing it. Okay? All right. So the next step, step 4, then you go start reading the passage. Notice how reading the passage is step 4. So there are other things that are more important to do first before going to the passage. This is very important. Please don't just open your question paper and jump to reading the passage, because the simple question I would have for you is, what are you reading for? What exactly are you looking for in this passage? You shouldn't look at the passage if you don't have anything you're looking for. Otherwise, it's just a total waste of time. Okay? So, step 1, read headings and questions, headings and instructions. Step 2, analyze the first question, taking note of keywords in it and understanding the meaning of the first question. Step 3, look at the second question, take note of keywords in the second question. Before step 4, go to the passage and start reading. So, of course, you have to keep these 2 questions in mind before you start reading. If you stop yourself or anyone stops you at any point while reading a passage for IELTS and they ask you the simple question, what are you looking for? If you cannot answer that question, then you are just reading and wasting your time. All right, when you start reading, try to locate the keywords or synonyms in the passage. Okay? Step 5, compare the statements to the passage. Now, even when you get to a statement that you believe is saying the same thing, or you think is saying the same thing as this particular area in the passage, go back again to the question, read it again and compare. You have to cross-check, okay, just to be safe. You have the keywords for number 1 in mind, you're reading, and you now see an area where you believe that is where number 1 came from, or that's where number 1, was gotten from. So you think it's true, just read it well, go back to the question and read it again. Compare to be sure. Because remember I told you sometimes you might think an answer is true just because many of the words in the statement actually correlate with the one in the passage. But by the time you read it carefully, you realize that, oh, there's a little difference, and that will make it false. So always cross-check your answer before you write down your answer. So decide if the passage agrees, contradicts, or doesn't mention the statement. Then step 6, choose your answer. According to your analysis, mark the statement as true, false, or not given. Okay? I hope you understand and I hope you are following. Please, at any point in time that you have a question, just leave it in the comments section and I'll get to it as soon as I can. So, if you've gotten to this point in this video, then you're enjoying it, you're following, please subscribe to the channel. I know that a lot of you forget to subscribe. It's not necessarily that you don't want to. So please take a few seconds right now to just smash that subscribe button, like the video. It really helps to, encourage me, think of more topics to discuss and teach you. Okay? Thank you so much. Now, if you've done that, let us continue. Oh yeah, so repeat for subsequent questions. Yes, so these are the steps, okay, to take. So when you've read 1 and 2 and you found number 1 answer, that leaves you with number 2 question. You then read number 3 so that, you just keep doing it like that. My point is, at every point in time, you should have 2 questions in mind while reading the passage. This is my recommended strategy for true, false, not given question type. Okay. Finally, we have a practice example. Okay. Right. Let us start. What did I say you should do first? Yes. I said you should read your headings And oh yeah, subheadings if applicable, but this one doesn't have a subheading. So headings and instructions, right? This one says it's almost time for the next Ripton festival. Yay! I don't know what that is, but yay, sounds fun. So it's almost time for the next Ripton Festival. Notice how Ripton Festival is written in capital R and F because it's a proper noun, it's the name of a particular festival. So even if you were writing and you want to mention a festival in your writing, make sure you write it this way. Okay, capitalize the first letters in the words. That's by the way. All right, so read your heading. Now go to your instruction, look at it, and you realize that, okay, do the following statements agree with the information given in the text on page 18? In boxes 7 to 14 on your answer sheet, write true if the statement agrees with the instruction, with information, false if the statement contradicts the information, not given if there is no information on this. So you look at it. Of course, when you've gotten used to true, false, not given questions, you wouldn't have to read all these things verbatim because you already know what they mean. You just have to look well to be sure that it's a true, false, not given question type and not a yes, no, not given question type. Then you do what next? What did you say? Read the first question. Analyze the first question by reading it and taking note of the key words, right? And number 7 says the festival is held every year. Okay, let's highlight that. The festival is held. Okay, festival is a keyword, but then we already know that this whole passage is going to be about a festival, right? We already know it's going to be about a festival because it's right there in the heading. So it's not really that important. For me, the most important words in this question would be held, held every year. Okay, I'll say those are the most important words. Held every year, okay? So, what's the frequency? How often is the festival held? What's the third step? Yes, look at the next question, right? Look at the next question, which is number 8, right? Okay, now, this year's festival, okay, so number 8 is talking about this year's festival, focuses on the town's history. Focuses on the town's history. Now, we've gone through steps 1 to what? 4. 3. We've gone through steps 1 to 3. We can now go to step 4, which is going to the passage. Because now we have 1 and 2 in mind. 1 is how often how often the festival is held. And the question says it's every year. We now want to check the passage to know if it is actually every year. And while number 2, that's number 8, says that this year's festival focuses on the town's history. So we just have that at the back of our minds, the focus of this year's festival, okay? While looking for number 1, which is whether it is held every year. Now, moving on to the passage. It's almost time for the next Ripton Festival. As usual, the festival will be held, keyword, in the last weekend of June. Can you see? Last weekend of June. And then as usual. That means it's a normal thing. Okay, that's how it happens. Every last weekend of June, the festival is held. But let's keep reading. This year on Saturday to Monday. So as usual, the festival will be held in the last weekend of June. This year on Saturday to Monday, 27 to 29 June. Ever since last year's festival, so there was a festival last year, the committee has been working hard to make this year's the best ever. So we already have enough evidence that yes, the festival is held every year because of, as usual, it's going to be held on the last weekend of June. And also, since last year's festival, they've been working hard so that this year's festival is the best ever. So, number 7 is true. Number 7 is what? True. Okay? Good. You then come back to the question to remind yourself of the next one, to now have it properly in your head, because you're now in number 8. This year's festival focuses on the town's history. What do you do next? Trick question. What do you do next? It is not to go back to the passage. It's to look at number 9. Trust me, this might feel like it's not necessary all the time, but it will save you. It will save you. So just get used to it. Okay? Look at number 9. Goods. So number 9, first of all, is about goods displayed in the craft fair. So they're not the same. They are different from ones found in shops. So the goods at the crafts fair are unlike the ones found in shops. They are different from the ones found in shops. Now, all you have to keep in mind really for number 9 is crafts fair. Just crafts fair, basically. So that if you're looking for number 8, which is the focus of this year's festival, and then you suddenly start seeing something about the crafts fair, goods, shops, that should be an indicator that you're now in number 9. Okay, so just keep a few keywords, then come back to look for the focus of this year's festival. Now we stopped reading at line 3. We are on line 3. So scenes will be acted. Okay. Yeah, the best ever, right? The theme of the festival is Rifting Through the Ages. Wow. The theme is Rifting, which is the town, through the ages, which is history. Scenes will be acted out showing how the town has developed since it was first established. Since it was first established. But there is also plenty of up-to-date. Okay, there's also plenty that's up to date, from the latest music to local crafts. Can you see? So the theme of any program is basically what is the focus of the program? What is it all about? So this year's festival, the theme, the focus is Rifting Through the Ages. And looking at something through the ages is about the history of that thing. They now said, in addition, that scenes will be acted out showing how the town has developed since it was first established. But there will still be current things that are recent, things that are up to date. So the answer is true again. For number 8, this year's festival focuses on the town's history. Yes, the answer is true. Great. So what do you do next? You read number 10. Okay? Hope you're following the strategy now. Read number 10 so that even if you're going to look for number 9 answer, you have an idea of what number 10 is talking about. Number 10 says the barbecue will be cancelled, right, if it rains. So number 10 is about a barbecue. You can just keep that in mind, okay? That's okay for number 10 because now we are really focusing on number 9. Goods displayed in the crafts fair are unlike ones found in shops. Now, we are now in paragraph 2. The crafts fair, so you can see that we are only just getting to the crafts fair because we've already seen answers to number 7 and 8, which are the 2 questions before number 9. So we are now getting to number 9. Notice how the answers are coming down. The answers are following the same order as the passage. Okay? The crafts fair is a regular part of the festival. Come and meet professional artists, designers and craftsmen and women who will display their jewelry, paintings, ceramics and much more. Do you still remember the question? Because I do. The question is saying that goods that will be sold in the crafts fair are unlike the ones found in shops. And so that means they are different from the ones found in shops. There's a comparison now between goods at the crafts fair and the ones found in shops. So you must see that exact comparison before you pick true for this answer, or something opposite of that before you pick false. All right. So line 3, they'll also take orders. So if you want one of them to make something especially for you, just ask. You'll get it within a month of the festival ending. So far, they've not said anything about a comparison between the goods at the crafts fair and those in the shop. So we keep reading, right? Next paragraph. The Saturday barbecue. Can you see what's going on here? Remember that barbecue is the main keyword for the next question, number 10. And you've not seen the comparison you're looking for number 9. And you're now seeing number 10. That should be a clear indicator to you that number 9 is not there, because you're not going to find it anywhere below that word barbecue in the passage, because that is already referring to number 10. I hope you're following. Okay, so confidently, because you know you were paying attention while reading, you're sure you were paying attention and you did not see such comparison between goods in shops and goods at the crafts fair. Quickly go and write not given for number 9 and come back. So number 9 is not in this passage, okay? If not that you took note of the fact that number 10 is talking about a barbecue, you would have to read the whole passage from to the end before you actually realize that number 9 is not there, so it's not given. Yes, you would still get number 9 correctly, but you would have wasted precious time. Remember that IELTS is not just about getting your answers. It's about getting your answers quickly and not running out of time. Because 1 hour is not a lot of time in the IELTS exam hall. Trust me. It will breeze by like it's 20 minutes. So any strategy that doesn't help you work faster is not worth it. Okay? So we only know now that 9 is not given, and we are sure because we have an idea that number 10 talked about a barbecue. Okay? So number 9 is not given. Now we're number 10, but what do we do next? Yes, read number 11. You're following, okay? So let's take a look at number 11. So as you can see, I did not highlight anything in the passage for number 9 because it's not there. So there's nothing to highlight, okay? Number 11 says, adults can attend the barbecue at any time. So adults can attend at any time without charge. Okay, they can come anytime they want and they'll come for free, pro bono. They don't have to pay. Adults, very important. Okay, so make sure you always understand the sentence. Okay, now, but we are still in number 10. Remember. In fact, let me see if I can. Okay, so okay, we got number 7 to be true, right? Number 8, true. Number 9, not given, right? So we're now in number 10, right? Okay. All right, for number 10, the barbecue will be cancelled if it rains. So there's a condition. It will only be cancelled if it rains, because it's an outdoor activity, so they would have to cancel it if it rains. Now we're in paragraph 3. The Saturday barbecue will start at 2 p.m. and continue until 10 p.m. with a bouncy castle for kids. The barbecue will be held in Palmer's Field or in the town hall if there is rain. Are you paying attention? They've mentioned all the keywords. So now you read it again to be sure. The question says that the barbecue will be cancelled. Cancelled. Once it's raining, no more barbecue. That's what the question says. But now the passage is saying that it will be held in Palmer's Field. Sorry, I think I said hall earlier. It will be held in Palmer's Field. That's a field, an open field, or in the town hall if there is rain. So either way, the barbecue is going to hold. Nothing is going to make them not to have that fun and enjoy their barbecue. Come rain, come shine. So if there is no rain, they can do it outdoors as usual at Palmer's Field. But if there is rain, then they have to take it inside into the town hall. Now we've come to our first false answer. Because they told us about the barbecue. They told us about rain. They told us about the barbecue holding. But the information is now contradictory. It's not saying the exact same thing. So it's not true. So it's false. The question says the barbecue will be cancelled if it rains. But the passage is saying that if it rains, we'll just move our barbecue into the town hall where there is shade. So it's going to hold even if there's rain. So it's opposite. The barbecue will not be cancelled. The location will just be changed. So it's false. It would have been not given if they did not tell us anything about rain or anything about the barbecue being cancelled. I hope you're following. Just like in number 9, they did not tell us anything about a comparison between the goods in the craft fair and the ones in the shops. That's why it's not given. But for number 10, they told us about the barbecue and what will happen if it rains. Okay? So, and it's not the same. The passage tells us that if it rains, it will not be held inside the town hall. But the question is saying that if it rains, it will be cancelled, which is a contradictory statement, making it false. Okay? So, number 10 is false. Alright. Now, let us move to the next one. And the next one is number 11. Adults can attend the barbecue at any time without charge. Okay? So what do we do next? We look at number 12, just in case. Okay? Number 12 says, amateur musicians will perform during the whole of the barbecue. So amateur musicians will perform during the whole of the barbecue. So throughout the program, you'd have amateur musicians singing, performing. Okay? That's number 12. So just keep in mind it's talking about, music and performance. But the main thing we're looking for now is this number 11, which says adults can attend the barbecue at any time without charge. So let's go back to the passage and continue from where we stopped. That's if there's rain. Book your tickets now, as they always sell out very quickly. Entry for under 16s, that's 16 years and below, is free. Or rather, entry for under 16. So for those younger than 16, entry is free all day. So it's free. If you're below 16, you don't pay, irrespective of when you come. You just enter for free. Adults can come for free until 6 p.m. and pay £5 after that. So that is where our answer comes from. Adults can come for free until 6 p.m. and pay £5 after that. That means as long as you're an adult, you can come for free until 6 p.m. So anytime before 6 p.m. as an adult, you can attend the barbecue for free. But once it is 6 p.m. and later, so from past 6, 6:30, 7 to 10, when the barbecue is going to end, according to what they told us earlier, you're going to pay £5 before you can enter. But what is the question saying? It says that's number 11, okay? That's where we are. Adults can attend the barbecue at any time without charge. That's a lie. That's clearly a lie. So it's false. The information is contradictory because they told us about adults, they talked about their fee, what they pay, they talked about the time. But the problem is the information is contradictory because the passage said they can only come for free until 6 p.m. But from anything past 6, they have to pay £5 to be able to gain entry. But the question is saying they can come anytime and they still wouldn't pay. Opposite, contradictory, false. Okay? Good. We continue. We've looked at 12. We read it earlier and it's talking about amateur musicians performing throughout the barbecue. Now, let us look at the next question. Okay? Let's look at the next question. And the next question says that seating is available for watching the boat races. Okay, so seating, that's sitting area, somewhere, a place where spectators can sit, is available for watching the boat races. So just keep in mind that number 13 is talking about the boat races, okay, and sitting. But we're looking for number 12, which is where we are at the moment. And just remind yourself quickly of what is number 12 is saying, which is that amateur musicians will perform during the whole of the barbecue. Now we stopped at pay £5 after that. There will be live music throughout. Okay, there'll be music, but they've not told us whether it's the professionals or the amateur musicians. So you keep reading. With local amateur bands in the afternoon and professional musicians in the evening. Okay, let's take note of our evidence. So, with local amateur bands in the afternoon and professional musicians in the evening. So there are two sets. There are the professional ones and the amateur ones. Yes, the amateur ones will be there, but they will only perform in the afternoon, while the professional musicians will get to perform in the evening. Probably why the evening time is not free for adults, right? So, yeah, there's a contradictory information because the question in number 12 is saying that amateur musicians will be the ones to perform throughout the whole barbecue, which is not true. It's false because they will only perform in the afternoon while the professional ones would then perform in the evening time. So number 12 is false as well. That leaves us with 13 and 14. So what do? Finally, we look at number 14 question. So I'm going to move this bubble so that we can see well. Number 14 question is here. Let's use yellow again. Okay. People attending the festival will be asked to donate some money. So people attending the festival will be asked to donate some money. So they're going to ask people to donate some money. That is what this one is saying. Okay. So we are now in paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, paragraph 4. And we are looking for number 13. You remember? We're looking for number 13, which says that seating is available for watching the boat races. On Saturday, we are delighted to introduce an afternoon of boat races arranged by the Ripton Rowing Club. The spectator area by the bridge has plenty of room to stand and cheer the boats home. In addition, to a number of benches. If you had stopped reading around plenty of room to stand, you might end up picking true, or rather, sorry, false, because the question says sitting is available, but you see room to stand, you quickly go and pick false, saying it's opposite. You'd fail the question. So it's important that you read the whole sentence first, get the meaning, okay? Because the answer came later. So there'll be plenty of room to stand and cheer the boat home, in addition to a number of benches. So there's room to stand, but there are also some benches. That means you can sit. Benches are chairs for sitting. So 13 says sitting is available for watching the boat races, and the answer is simply true. The answer is true. That leaves us to number 14. People who attend the festival will be asked to donate some money. Okay? Asked to donate some money. All right. Let us go back to the passage. We stopped at benches. The winners of the races will be presented with trophies by the mayor of Ripton. Finally, the last paragraph and the last statement. All money raised by the festival will go to support the sports clubs in Ripton. This question confuses some people, but it shouldn't. All money raised by the festival will go to support the sports club in Ripton. It doesn't say people will be asked to donate money. I've had a few clients who tended to assume that because they said raise money, it means donate money. No, it doesn't mean the same thing. You can raise money through sales, you can raise money through donations, yes, but that's not the only way you can raise money. If you followed the passage, you'd notice that there are a few places they talked about money. First of all, when they mentioned the crafts fair, they said goods will be available for sales. So that's obviously one way by which they'll raise money from the festival. Another way is by by demanding £5 from adults that come after 6 p.m. From adults that attend the barbecue after 6 p.m. They would have to pay £5. Do you remember that? So they are making money through sales, through entry fees. Maybe there are so many other ways. So the point is that all money raised by the festival will go to support the sports club in Ripton. It doesn't mean people will be asked to raise money. They did not tell us that people will be asked to raise money. That information is nowhere to be found. Okay? So that means number 14 is not given, because the information about asking people to raise money is not there. Okay, so that's really how you answer true, false, not given questions. Not that difficult, to be very honest. The only thing is that you'd have to pay attention. And most people find it very difficult to pay attention. Unfortunately, people can't pay attention. There's always something distracting them. They find it very difficult to just bring their mind together and focus on what they're doing. And if you cannot do that, then you're going to have serious issues in IELTS, because you have to concentrate, you have to focus. There's no two ways about it, and there is no way out. Okay? All right, let's move on. We've spent a lot of time on this slide, but that's what it should be, right? So these are the answers to the ones we just got. Okay, so this is now... Okay, so it's your turn to attempt. Okay? It's your turn to attempt. This is an exercise very, very similar to the one we just finished doing, but this one is about how to choose your builder. And you have 7 questions as well to look at. So I'm going to give you some time now to attempt this question. After about 5 minutes, the answers will be displayed and you can let me know how many you were able to get correctly. Okay? Good luck, and do not forget to subscribe because many more videos like this would come very soon and you do not want to be left out. Don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to comment and please like this video and share with your friends as well. I would really, really appreciate it. Okay? I'll see you in the next one. Bye.